Hey, what's up, dude? Straight Shootin LJA here. And I know it's been a while since you seen my face on camera, but this is the Straight Shootin Rants. Welcome, one and all. But you know what, yeah? The Premier League is going to be back on June 17th. Now, part of me is happy about it, and as a Liverpool supporter, very happy about it, but there's a major part of me that has a massive degree of cynicism about it, because the fact that at this time whilst I'm recording this, in the Premier League, out of I think about just over 1,000 tests done, there have been 12 positive cases of the coronavirus over three rounds of testing. So, and one of them was Bournemouth goalkeeper Ramsdale, who tested negative 3 days before he got tested again and tested positive. So either that means the testing is not an exact science, which is pretty clear, or it's just one of them ones where too many people are in contact with each other still. And for me, that's going to be a major problem just generally in football. I mean, the Bundesliga's obviously now been back for a week and a half, and okay, fair play to them, but Germany didn't have the highest coronavirus death rate in Europe. We did here in the UK, and we still have, as it happens. So it's one of them ones where I'm not a fan of the Premier League coming back this early. I mean, as I've said before, it was never going to be null and voided. That was never gonna happen. That was never ever gonna happen because obviously, as I've discussed on episode 13, of the Straight Shootin Rants, there's too much money. There's too much money to null and void it. So it's one of them where it's like, I knew that was never gonna happen, and I would say to those people who thought that the Premier League season was going to be null and voided, especially after 29 games, you're either stupid, naive, or you don't have a clue about football and the business, listen to me, business behind the game of football. Because it's the business that runs the game. And you got to remember, a lot of clubs are businesses, extremely badly run businesses, but businesses nonetheless, as I've said on numerous occasions over the 8 years we did pitch talk shows and podcasts for. So it's one of them ones. And also, I think it was theathletic.com who released recently a very interesting little graph as part of an article about Premier League finances, and they are in very, very bad shape. And I've actually done a bit of reading up on it, and a lot of Premier League teams owe each other money because of paying for deals, like staggered deals. Like, look at even internationally, you've got a lot of teams that owe Premier League clubs money. I think Liverpool are still owed a bit for Philippe Coutinho, because that 142 million, it was staggered. It was staggered over a couple of years. And there was, about 37 million worth of it that was basically performance related in terms of Barca, where if they qualify for the Champions League, then Liverpool get that money. But they have to qualify for the Champions League for 3 straight seasons to get that money. So there's that. But also domestically, there are a lot of clubs who owe each other transfer fees, because just as one of them ones where it's the old to kind of fall in line with financial fair play, where to make your books look a bit better, got a couple of hot shots on motorbikes, look at that. But anyway, where to basically balance your books and make your books look a lot better, it looks a lot better if you spend 142 million, for instance, and spread that cost out over 3 seasons. So let's say that's about almost 50 million per season, or 50-50-42, looks a lot better on your accounts if you're spreading that out. It's like buying something on finance. If you can't afford to buy it outright, you buy it on finance and pay back in installments. And a lot of Premier League clubs do that with their deals. So it's one of them where this pandemic for me has shown, and hopefully a lot of people have now realised, as if some of us didn't realise it before, that professional football, especially the Premier League more than anyone, is based on greed. And the sad thing is, it is just a microcosm. The Premier League are literally I always say football's a microcosm of society, and the Premier League is the personification of that. Because you look at how the government have been a day late and a dollar short. And it's like, oh yes, it's about public safety, but big businesses have been pressuring them into easing the lockdown. And then you look at the Premier League, where it's like other leagues, such as the Eredivisie, and also Ligue 1 out in France. I just love saying that. Ligue 1 out in France. They both cancelled the leagues and awarded the championship. Now, I'm not saying I don't agree with awarding the championship. Just like certain guys have said about pro wrestling, I think championships and titles should be won, not given. I'm not a fan of just giving titles. But it is one of them ones where Liverpool's case is a bit different, where with 9 games to go, 25 points clear. Whereas other leagues were like 3, 5 and 7 points, and they've given the leagues. But it's one of them ones where I could totally understand why the Premier League didn't want to, because at the end of the day, as I said on episode 13 of the Straight Shootin Rants, there are massive potential legal ramifications and financial ramifications of null and void in the season, which is why I said it wasn't going to happen, because it would have costed the Premier League over £1 billion for them just to null and void the season. And also countless legal battles, not just from Liverpool, but there's the European places, there's the relegation places, then there's the knock-on effect to the championship if there's no promotional relegation. So there's those issues as well. So to all the null and voiders out there, I say, and you were wrong. Not often I'll say that to people, but you were wrong. But I said a lot of people were not looking outside of the microcosm of what goes on the football pitch, because it's billions of pounds on the line. And sadly, just like the government, the Premier League and the FA especially, we know who runs the game in this country, and it's not the FA, it's not the Football Association, it's the Premier League as the cash cow. They run the game in England. It's the Premier League, quite clearly. And then within that, obviously you got Sky Sports too, who obviously were a major factor in the creation of the Premier League. But it's one of them ones where that's why I was told that Gary Neville was talking about player safety and welfare and all that, and it's like, oh, so you work for Sky Sports and you're talking about player welfare and all that? Yeah, okay, nah, can't take that seriously. Can't take that seriously, because I just look at, well, your paymasters are part of the reason that the seasons can't be just null and voided. So sorry, bruh, unless you're willing to quit, like Colin Murray did, when TalkSport were taken over by I think it was News Corp. It was one of them was over his obviously Liverpool links. It was a case of, unless Gary Neville's gonna do that, nah. And he's only commenting because of his ownership of Salford City. If he didn't have that, he wouldn't be commenting. So, leaving that aside, sadly, just like government, the Premier League is all about money. It's not about public safety. Because if it was about public safety, it would have been one of them ones where it's like, all right, we've still got cases of the coronavirus in the leagues. This can't happen. It's like, we can afford testing, but NHS staff, frontline staff, key workers can't get tests. Why don't we jump in, and whatever testing we were thinking of doing, let's give it to them, because they're the ones on the front line working every day at risk of contracting the coronavirus. But the Premier League ain't done that. And of course they're not going to. They're obviously paying for their testing and keeping it in-house. And the Premier League really and truly has kind of, for me, dragged its own reputation through the mud. Certain players breaking the lockdown, quote unquote, as I like to call it, the faux lockdown. players breaking that, managers even breaking it, with Jose Mourinho taking a public training session in public park when it first started. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? It's like, what are you playing at? It's leadership by example. And what Dominic Cummings did just reminded me of what Jose Mourinho did, where it's like leadership by example. You're high profile, you're saying to everyone, oh, we all need to stay indoors, but then you're flouting those rules. Nigel Farage, that idiot too. But as I said, football as a sport has really not covered itself in glory. Really hasn't. I mean, there's Liverpool Atletico Madrid, which should have been cancelled. UEFA could have cancelled that. Forget the result. It's about public safety. Spain and Italy were hotspots at that point in early to mid-March, and you're letting 3,000 Spaniards come over. Okay. And it has actually been linked to that a number of deaths were actually caused by that influx. So, by that influx of people all in one go. So it's one of them where it's like, the Premier League's not covered itself in glory, and as glad as I am to see football back, it's one of them, it's not one of them where I was that desperate for it. I love football, I love talking about it, I love watching it, I love playing it especially. But it's one of them where it should not be at the cost of public or player safety. Because that's an issue as well, a major issue. That's why I'm in agreement with what Danny Rose said about, F the nation's morale. This is about safety. This is about safety for players. I'm with N'Golo Kante, like getting his special dispensation from Chelsea not to attend training, and everyone's just been cleared for contact training. And it's one of them where it's like, I am with Troy Deeney in regards to he's got young children, so have I. I completely understand. If you've got vulnerable individuals, you've got young children who are potentially vulnerable to the virus. So if you get it and you bring it back, your kids are in trouble, your partner's in trouble, and you are in trouble. So it's one of them where it's like, this is all based on greed that it's coming back this quickly. And especially in a country where we've got the highest coronavirus death rate in Europe by a significant margin. So it's one of them where it's like, this has all been rushed. For me, this has all been rushed. I don't think it should have come back until at least September, but I'm not a virologist. I'm not a government advisor. So what do I know? What do I know? I'm just a fan looking out for the welfare of the game. Not just the pockets of BT Sport, Sky Sport, the Premier League, or anyone else. I'm thinking to myself, it's about player welfare. Forget Liverpool winning the title. Anybody who thinks, I'll end with this. Anybody who thinks that the Premier League coming back this early, June 17th to be exact, anybody who thinks that this is just about Liverpool winning the league, you are an idiot, you are naive, or you just don't have a clue, not only about football, but about life in general. Because in the words of the Wu-Tang Clan, cream, it's like cream, money makes the world go round. Cream, dollar bill, y'all. Get the cream, dollar bill, y'all. It's one of them ones. And that, for me, is what it's all about. You know what, yeah? Comment section is below. I am Straight Shootin LJA, at SSLJA on Twitter. As a train goes by behind me, overground train, nice. It's actually quite a nice night to be doing a video blog and I'm glad to see you. Hope you enjoyed my views on the Premier League returning on June 17th, 2020 after the coronavirus pandemic. This pandemic ain't over. If anything, it could get a lot worse. But remember, it's all about that money. I have been Straight Shootin LJA, and I will leave you with this. I'm glad to see it back, but it's all too soon. Take it easy, peeps, and I'll see you guys soon. Remember, the comment section is below. Let me know your views.